This is Good Morning Indiana, working for you.
Now at 6 o'clock, Metro Police say it's time for the violence to end. The strong message this morning as they investigate yet another deadly shooting in the Circle City.
And the final preparations are underway as the Indy Pride Festival is set to take over downtown this weekend. What you need to know before the big day tomorrow. It is 6 o'clock on your Friday morning. Thanks for starting your week. Not week with us, ending your week with us. Starting your day, ending your week. TGIF, I'm Meredith Barrick.
And I'm Nicole Griffin. Let's turn first to meteorologist Todd Klassen. Todd, people are going to expect a nice Friday forecast?
Yeah, you know, it's a decent forecast for us. Very similar to yesterday, just a little breezier than it was, but that might not be a bad thing because it'll help to mix out a little of that humidity, make it feel maybe a little bit better out there compared to yesterday, where if you were outside and working out and you worked up a sweat pretty quickly. Here's the view from downtown to the north. I just love this picture because you have the clear sky to the north, and then you have this haze closer to the ground. Yesterday we had the dense fog. This is just a lot of moisture that's trapped in the lower levels of the atmosphere. That's the humidity that you feel out there. 65 right now in Indy, 70 in Bloomington, 61 from Tipton up towards Peru, where the clouds are a little bit thinner. That's why it's a little bit cooler there compared to where the clouds are a little thicker in southern locations. We had this one shower that went through earlier this morning. It's now moved off towards the west, and there's a system down to our south that's close enough that we probably have to maintain an isolated shower chance in southern locations throughout the day today. But if you do see it, it'll be just like that one I just showed you. It'll be very brief, and then it'll be on its way. And I don't think it's anything that's going to cause you to cancel any plans. 76 degrees with partly cloudy skies by the noon hour, with high temperatures this afternoon, Elena, climbing into the low 80s.
All right, thank you, Todd. Here's a look at I-465 at Ditch Road up on the north side. Traffic's moving along just fine for your morning drive without delay. Let's take a look at the map coming in from that southwest side, heading northbound on I-70 from Ronald Reagan Parkway to I-65. It's going to take you 12 minutes, but you do want to note that beginning at 9 o'clock tonight, this area is going to close, and there will be some other weekend road closures that you're going to want to pay attention to. So coming up in the next 20 minutes or so, I'll tell you about those closures and how to get around them.
Elena, thank you. Breaking overnight, a man on a motorcycle rushed to the hospital after he collided with a tow truck on the city's east side. The crash happened near East Washington and Midhofer around 1:30 this morning. Police tell RTV6 the man was trying to change lanes when he hit a median, then sideswiped a tow truck. The motorcycle driver was taken to the hospital for his injuries, but he is expected to be okay. A woman also on the motorcycle and the tow truck driver were not injured.
A new law that will take effect July 1st in Indiana could save lives. The death of this 18-month-old Muncie girl prompted the legislation.
What drove you to do it?
For Jocelyn, so that other families don't have to go through what we did.
Jessica O'Hearn's little girl Jocelyn died suddenly of sepsis 4 years ago. Sepsis is a serious infection that anyone can contract. Symptoms include fever, chills, high heart rate, and rash, making it difficult to diagnose. Jessica says she had never even heard of sepsis until it killed her daughter.
When I talked to the coroner, he had told me that in order for them to test for sepsis, I would have had to have driven her to Riley that night. And for me to have driven her to Riley, I would have had to have known. Had I known or heard about sepsis, I probably would have been more cautious, probably would have taken her in, but I doubt that at the time they wouldn't have known.
The new law establishes statewide protocol guidelines to screen patients for sepsis at all healthcare facilities. To learn more about the dangers of the infection and the law, go to the RTV6 app and click on this story.
This morning, Indianapolis Metro Police are asking for your help. They say violence impacts innocent people, and it's time for that to end. That's the message after another deadly shooting. Investigators were called to Sheffield Avenue on the west side just after 3 o'clock Thursday afternoon. They found 2 men with gunshot wounds. One of the victims died, the other is in critical condition. Deputy Chief Chris Bailey says the people of the neighborhood deserve better.
They don't deserve to have this in their neighborhood. It's unacceptable, and we're going to do everything that we can to prevent it and to stop it from happening in the future. But law enforcement cannot do this alone. This is not something that's going to be stopped with just law enforcement activities. It's going to take an entire community all working in the same direction to make long-term change, not only in this community but in communities all over Indianapolis.
As of this morning, police have not released the names of the victims. Well, this weekend, you'll see rainbow flags on full display all over Mass Ave and all over the Circle City as the LGBTQ community celebrates Indy Pride. With thousands of people gearing up for the events this weekend, our Aaron Lish joins us live in studio with details from Indy Pride organizers. Aaron.
Good morning. So it's expected that 25 to 30,000 people will be in the streets of Indy for the Pride Parade and the festival at Military Park. Things you need to know include the festival is in the park starts at 11 and will be tobacco free for the second year in a row. No weapons are allowed into the festival, and this year they are not allowing coolers. There will be hydration stations at the park where they will be handing out free water bottles, and to get in it's only $5 with 2 songs on the top 40 charts. Lizzo will be performing. Also, again, the parade is at actually 10 starting on Mass Ave, and this has grown over the years, and organizers say those who were at the first Indy Prides paved the way to what it is today. We hear from those in the 90s and Chris Handberg, the executive director.
I'd like to walk down the street just like this and not think twice about it.
We deserve the right to have our own celebration because we are what we are.
I think all of the acceptance, all of the visibility was made possible by very brave people who took a lot of negativity, a lot of oppression, and a lot of abuse for being who they are. And so we have them to thank so that we can have the acceptance we have today.
Although there's been progress over the past 30 years, Handberg says they have a long way to go. So if there are protesters at the parade or festival, they have spaces for them and plans in place to keep everyone in attendance safe. Last year, the festival battled some rain. So coming up in the next half hour, I'll have what plans are in place if there are those showers. Meredith?
Aaron, thank you. The Indy Pride Festival comes as LGBTQ rights have taken center stage in the race for mayor of Indianapolis. On Thursday, Indiana Senator Jim Merritt, the Republican mayoral candidate, spoke publicly about this weekend's Indy Pride Parade. Merritt now says he will not attend the parade after all. He faced backlash for wanting to participate in the event because of his voting history against gay rights. Merritt says he's changed.
I do understand, though, that my learning, my feelings, and evolving knowledge may ring hollow to those troubled by my past voting record. You know, they are right to say, show me. Well, I have committed to show you because actions truly are louder than words.
Merritt cited his work to pass a hate crimes bill in the State House. Chris Handberg, the executive director of Indy Pride, says he appreciates Merritt's decision to not participate in the parade.
Pride Parade, the festival, it is a sacred time for us. It is the one day a year where we can be together as a community, and we don't have to educate people about LGBTQ issues.
Handberg says he has spoken with Merritt about things he could do to help the Pride community. Merritt also introduced measures he said he would work toward if elected mayor. You can find those by clicking on this story in the RTV6 app.
It may not be the most practical way to get to the office, but today it is Canoe to Work Day in Central Indiana. The 8th annual event is the kickoff to a week-long celebration of the White River. Our Alyssa Donovan is live this morning with what this day is all about. Hey, Alyssa.
Hey, Nicole, this is what the day is all about. It's about getting out onto local waterways. And I'm here with Jeremy. He's with Burke Engineering. That is the company that started all of this. Just tell me a little bit about how Canoe to Work Day started. I know we're in kayaks, but same thing.
Absolutely. Well, our company has a bike to work program, and about 12 years ago, some of the bikers and some of the paddlers in the office said we should try something different. We should try to canoe to work. And it kind of was a joke, but about a handful of them got together and did it, and that was in 2012, and it has kind of snowballed since then, and we had about 6 that year, and we're up to, we're hoping about 45, 47 people today.
Wow, that's a lot of people kayaking down the river in the morning. And tell me, why do this?
So our company, Chris Burke Engineering, specializes, we're a full-service civil engineering firm, but we specialize in water resources. And so we get to see and work on projects that improve our waterways from the bank. And very seldom do we all get to get out on the water itself and kind of really understand what we're doing and why we're doing it. And today's kind of special to us for that.
And tell me what the experience is like. You were telling me it's almost like you're not in the city when you do this.
This particular reach of Fall Creek is like a diamond, really, in the rough. You get down in here and you get between, it's a very wooded area, and there's part of it where you just would not believe you get away from some of the traffic, the levees are there. You wouldn't believe you're in downtown Indianapolis, basically. You're in an urban watershed. It's just a beautiful stretch. There's a lot of nature, a lot of animals, and we're gonna kayak that today.
All right, thank you so much. Let's actually head out, and we'll send it back to you guys in the studio.
All right.
All right.
All right, Alyssa, don't tip over. I got faith in you. You can do it. But yeah, it's an awesome way. I think it's where I've canoed down the White River, and it's an awesome way to see the city. So yeah, make sure you get out there and enjoy it at some point here, maybe this summer if you can't do it today. All right, some minor visibility issues this morning. You'll notice some haze out there. That's the moisture, the humidity that's out there. Visibilities, though, are all above 1 mile, so that is good news. Clouds a little thinner to the north, a little thicker down to the south, where we had this one passing shower that went through earlier this morning, and there's a lot of rain just down to our south, but it mainly stays south of the Ohio River, with the exception of, again, a stray shower in southern locations later on this afternoon. So highs today will be climbing into the 80s in most locations, maybe just some upper 70s to the north, but overall a very, very nice day. If you do have plans this evening, Vampire Weekend at the lawn at White River State Park, if you're heading to that show or any shows here across central Indiana, you'll start off right around 79 degrees at 6 p.m., falling into the low 70s with mostly cloudy skies by 10 p.m. We'll talk more about your weekend forecast coming up in just a few minutes.
Todd, thank you. Keeping employees working, that is the goal of one local organization. Just ahead in Hiring Hoosiers, how they're hoping to combat the opioid epidemic by keeping people on the job.
Tune up.
With Hiring Hoosiers, we are connecting you to initiatives that are in place to keep Hoosiers at work.
Keeping Hoosiers hired, that is the goal behind a grant awarded to the Indiana Manufacturers Association.
Amanda Starantino explains how the grant by the RX Abuse Leadership Initiative will directly respond to the opioid misuse and the addiction crisis in our state to keep employees in their jobs.
Methamphetamines. I was an addict.
Shelly Manis of Rochester knows what life can be like for an addict. She was in prison for dealing meth. Now she's on a new clean path of her life thanks to an employer, Recycle Force, who gave her a second chance.
There's so many of us out there. They don't ask what you've done, but they know you've had a past and you got to ask, and they want to give you that chance that no one else is wanting to.
The opportunity that Shelly got at Recycle Force is what the RX Abuse Leadership Initiative, also known as Rally, is aiming for in the manufacturing industry. But with the push to tackle the problem before they have to leave the workforce.
They know what to look for.
This grant from Rally to the Indiana Manufacturers Association is to keep Hoosiers hired in the state's largest industry. Hoosiers like Shelly, who are in recovery, and those still suffering addiction.
If you're only doing a drug test after you've had an incident or an accident, you're a little bit behind the times. We need more workers. We need skilled workers. And Indiana's not growing in population in any substantive way, so what we really need to do is grow the participation rate.
The state's legislature created a bill for a second chance program. Rally Indiana awarded a $45,000 grant to the IMA to equip Indiana's largest industry with new resources in response to the addiction crisis.
If an employee or a new hire would fail a drug test, they wouldn't be dismissed. They'd be able to stay employed so long as they entered into a drug treatment program. So part of the grant with Rally is connecting businesses not just to the structure of those programs, but also connecting them to the state resources and the local treatment options.
This grant will fund addiction education in the workplace. With the new funding, Rally Indiana and the IMA has created a digital toolkit and website specifically designed for employers within the manufacturing industry to offer guidance on how to identify and address substance misuse. It's a starting point to change in this statewide issue, affecting not only our workforce, but Hoosier families.
These toolkits are currently rolling out into Indiana manufacturing companies statewide.
For more information on how Raleigh, Indiana and the IMA is responding to the opioid epidemic, head to hiringhoosiers.com. That's where you can find all of our other Hiring Hoosiers stories. It is 6:17. Let's get over to Todd.
All right, beautiful morning in progress here across the central Indiana area as we're dealing with dry conditions. And to the north, there's a little more in the way of sunshine. You see the blue sky. You also see this haze. It kind of looks like some fog or some smog, but it's just the moisture that we have trapped in the lower levels of the atmosphere, and that's the humidity that we have. And that'll start to thin out as the breeze starts to pick up. But I love this shot. You can see the Central Library. You can see Riley Towers. Beautiful camera view there as you look to the north. All right, outside right now, we're dealing with temperatures that are in the 60s and one lone 70 still down in Bloomington, 65 in Indy, 61 in Peru as well as Tipton. So the clouds again are a little thinner in northern locations, a little thicker down to the south. And there was this one shower that went through Bloomington and Bedford earlier this morning. You see that is now pushed off towards the west, actually going the opposite way as normal as we've been dealing with this system that's been stalled down to our south. So there's a lot of rain in Kentucky, and most of this is going to stay in Kentucky. That is the good news. Every now and then an isolated shower will pinwheel into southern locations, so you'll have the best opportunity today to pick up a quick passing shower. If you do, it's not going to last very long. The center of circulation is in Arkansas. You can kind of see that counterclockwise spin right here. So this low is slowly going to make its way off towards the east. And so while it doesn't really impact us a whole lot today, it will start to impact us, though, tomorrow and into our Sunday, unfortunately. So here's that hit or miss shower threat throughout the day in southern locations. Again, the coverage is not all that great, and most of you are probably going to remain dry. And for those of you from I-70 to the north, you're definitely dry throughout the day today. And even this evening, we're dealing with that spot shower chance. So temperatures today will be a little slower to see them warm compared to yesterday because the clouds are a little thicker here this morning. So we'll be around 76 degrees by the noon hour. But as those clouds thin, we'll get into the 80s later on this afternoon with a high temperature that eventually gets up to 83 degrees. Symphony on the Prairie tonight, a great show. They're doing the music of Journey, Kansas, and Chicago. So some old-time favorites there. So if you're heading up to Conner Prairie there, you're dealing with partly cloudy skies, 79 degrees, then mostly cloudy skies at 10 p.m., but it should be a beautiful night for the concert there. For the weekend, do not cancel your plans. I know a lot of times you pull up your phone, you look at the app, and you see thunderstorm icons, and you think it's going to rain the entire time. Not the case. Tomorrow and also on Sunday, about a 40% chance of storms. Here's TrueCast, and you can see that storm system I mentioned pinwheeling some showers in our direction. So yes, there is some rain in the forecast at times tomorrow, but there's a lot of dry hours mixed in between. So just be weather aware, not expecting severe weather, but if you do have plans to be out and about, you may want to have the umbrella or the poncho handy. Sunday, some scattered storms as well. They'll continue into Monday and then cooler next week with high temperatures only in the 70s. Elena?
All right, thank you, Todd. Here's a look at I-70 at Minnesota Street. So this is down on that southwest side, and you can see everything is moving along just fine for your morning drive. This is one of those areas that's actually going to be closed as part of the weekend road closure. So what is going to be closed this weekend, you ask? Well, I will point it out to you. So let's take a look at the map. So down here on the south side, northbound 65, those right three lanes are going to be closed. So keep that in mind, as well as the northbound I-65 area between the splits. So to get around it, head westbound on 465, go northbound on 465, and then you can continue northbound or southbound on I-65 depending upon your destination. But these eastbound lanes of I-70 are also going to be closed. So your detour is going to add significant time to your drive. So pay attention and plan ahead if you do plan to head to the city from the south side.
Elena, thank you. Investigators are working to figure out why a military vehicle flipped on its way to a West Point training exercise Thursday morning. The accident killed one cadet. 21 others were hurt. It happened near a training site about 45 minutes outside of New York City. President Trump tweeted his condolences from Europe, saying, quote, "We mourn the loss of life and pray for the injured. God bless them all." The Army will identify the cadet killed later today.
This morning, we are getting a better idea of how Amazon's Prime Air delivery drone will work. Amazon announced that they hope to start using the drone for deliveries in the next few months. The drone can go straight up and down and uses 6 propellers to move forward and backward. It uses thermal and depth cameras along with sonar to spot and avoid obstacles. The drone can carry packages that weigh up to 5 pounds. Amazon's goal is to deliver them within 30 minutes. It's working with the FAA to get approval.
Walmart wants to help you stock your fridge literally. The retail giant announced a new service today called Walmart InHome. They'll be testing it out this fall in 3 cities, Kansas City, Pittsburgh, and Vero Beach. Here's how it works. You order your groceries online, and a tenured Walmart staffer wearing a body camera will not only deliver the goods to your home, but will put them in your refrigerator even if you're not there. If you want to use the service, you will have to install a smart lock on your home or garage. And the cool part is that customers can watch the body camera video live through an app. 75 years later, they are in a much different situation. We will show you the incredible reunion between 2 British and German D-Day veterans. That's next.
Early season wildcard package today.
This morning, the St. Louis Blues are 1 game away from making history. The team needs just 1 more win to capture its first ever Stanley Cup championship. The Blues captured a huge win in Game 5 on the road in Boston last night. St. Louis scored the first 2 goals of the game, then held on to win 2-1. They now hold a 3-2 lead in the best-of-7 series. Now the series will shift back to St. Louis for Game 6. That game is set for Sunday night. And for the first time since the Indy 500, the IndyCar drivers will be back on an oval this weekend. This weekend's race is down in Texas. The DXC Technology 600 is set for tomorrow night under the lights in Fort Worth, Texas. Scott Dixon is looking to match his win down in Texas from last season and get off to a good start on Thursday. Dixon got off to a good start on Thursday, that is. He was the fastest during practice yesterday. The green flag drops tomorrow night just after 7:30.
This morning, 2 World War II D-Day veterans are showing the incredible bonds that are created in war.
But here's the twist. One fought for the Germans. The other was a British soldier. Paul Goals was just 18 when he was forced to fight for the German army stationed in Normandy, France. And Harry Reid was 19 years old when he and the other Allied troops landed on D-Day.
Incredibly, both men survived the war and just met for the first time this week. Together, they celebrated 75 years of peace between their 2 countries and called each other not just friends, but brothers. What an amazing story there.
So great for them to connect. All right, it is 6:26 right now. Todd, you've got to check our forecast.
Yeah, and it's a good forecast as we end the work week. I wish we could carry this nicer weather over into the weekend when some storm chances return. But it's warm, it's muggy this morning. Temperatures are in the 60s and 70s, a little warmer to the south. Bloomington at 70 compared to 61 up in Logansport. The clouds are a little thinner to the north, and that's why the temperatures are a little bit cooler. But everybody today climbs into the upper 70s to low 80s across the area with partly sunny skies and just a very small chance of an isolated shower in extreme southern locations. I'll talk more about that weekend forecast coming up in the next half hour. Stay with Good Morning Indiana. We'll be back in just a few minutes.
For your thing, that's our thing. Call 1-800-CALL-ATT.
This is Good Morning Indiana, working for you.
Now at 6:30, one woman says the street behind her home is dangerous. Now she wants the city to take action before someone gets hurt.
Pride weekend is here. Thousands will gather this weekend to celebrate downtown. What you need to know about everything that's happening.
And more concerns over the proposed site for the new Marion County Criminal Justice Center. We're looking into concerns from those who will work in the building about possible contamination at that site. It's 6:30 on your Friday morning. Thanks for starting your day with us. I'm Meredith Barrick.
And I'm Nicole Griffin. Meteorologist Todd Clausen here. And Todd, you're saying this weekend there is some rain in the forecast, but not enough to like cancel your plans.
Yeah, you don't have to hide indoors.
Yeah. Right, you don't have to start making those indoor plans for the entire day. Just know that there will be some rain chances over the course of the weekend, so you may want to have the umbrella or the rain jacket handy. But you'll be able to time some of those showers out and get some outdoor time in. Here's the view this morning to the north. Temperatures are currently in the 60s and 70s, and we'll stay in the 60s here through the 10 a.m. hour with this hazy sunshine that you can see out there right now. A little muggy currently as well. but we'll start to mix out some of that humidity as the wind picks up a little bit throughout the day today. So the satellite radar picture shows the partly cloudy skies to the north, more clouds here to the south, and we had this one little shower that was working its way from east to west across the area, but that's moved out, and so it's a dry commute for you in Bloomington as well as Bedford right now. So there's a lot going on down to our south. It's kind of a real messy situation. You see some rain going off to the east. Some of this is moving back off towards the west. It's just a very disorganized old tropical system, but every now and then it's going to try to pinwheel an isolated shower into southern areas here later on this afternoon. So from I-70 to the north, you're completely dry. Southern locations, there could be a quick passing shower, but that is just about it as far as rain chances go for the day today, with highs that'll be in the upper 70s to low 80s. Elena.
All right, thank you, Todd. We have a crash that just came up on our map. This is over on the west side of West 34th Street at High School Road, so just pay attention to this if it is part of your drive. Let's take a look at the roads right now, though. Here's a look up in Fishers, I-69 and 106th Street. Everything's moving along just fine. Those roads are dry for your drive. Should be a breeze. Coming up in the next 20 minutes, I'll point out some weekend road closures you're going to want to pay attention to.
Elena, thank you. Breaking overnight, a man on a motorcycle rushed to the hospital after he collided with a tow truck on the city's east side. The crash happened near East Washington and Midhofer around 1:30 this morning. Police tell RTV6 the man was trying to change lanes when he hit a median, then sideswiped a tow truck. The motorcycle driver was taken to the hospital for his injuries, but he is expected to be okay. A woman also on the motorcycle and the tow truck driver were not injured.
Rainbow flags are hanging across windows along Mass Ave as they get ready for the Indy Pride Parade.
And over at Military Park, they're getting the stages set for the Pride Festival. Our Aaron Lish is live with us in studio this morning. Aaron, it is going to be a busy, jam-packed weekend.
It's a fun one, but there's a lot of moving parts. So there are a few things that you need to look forward to, and we have those for you. So expect 25 to 30,000 people on the streets of Indy for the Pride Parade and the festival at Military Park. There are things, again, you need to know. The festival at the park starts at 11 and will be tobacco-free for the second year in a row. No weapons are allowed into the festival, and this year they are not allowing coolers. There will be the hydration stations at the park where they will be handing out those free water bottles. And to get in, it's only $5 with the songs on the top 40 charts. Lizzo will be performing. Also, the parade is at 10 starting on Mass Ave. They have this thing growing, and it's been doing this over the past 30 years. And organizers say those who were at the first Pride Parade paved the way to what it is today. We hear from those in the 90s and Chris Handberg, the executive director.
Someone says the Gay Pride Festival at the Circle, people are going to say no big deal, because in 10 years that'll way it'll be.
It's the one time of year we can be ourselves without having to explain ourselves, without having to educate people that we're just like you, and we can just be with our community and not have to apologize, so we can celebrate who we are.
Last year, Pride had some rain, which caused everyone to evacuate the park, but the sun came back out. They're monitoring the weather this year, and they will be communicating on social media and their PA systems to keep everyone updated. And if you'd like to attend, the parade is free, and the festival is only $5. Nicole?
Aaron, thank you. An Indianapolis woman reaches out to RTV6 for help, terrified that someone is going to die in the creek behind her home. Kathy Height called 911 in May after someone crashed into the creek down a nearly 30-foot embankment 20 feet from the road. A crash report filed by police says the driver was heading east on 71st Street and drove through the intersection of Fairwood Drive into the ditch. Height wants the city to put in a guardrail or flashing lights to signal that 71st Street ends at Fairwood.
I've been trying to prevent this from happening. I mean, someone's going to get killed, and if there's a child in that car, it's going to be, I mean, I'd just be sick if something happened to a kid, especially knowing I've tried my darndest.
A spokeswoman from the Department of Public Works says guardrails are intended to protect drivers parallel to the guardrail. Hitting a guardrail perpendicularly could cause serious injury or worse. The crash report indicated the driver may have been drinking, but no charges have yet been filed.
There's more concern this morning about the proposed site for the new Marion County Criminal Justice Center. The Indiana Lawyer publication highlighted concerns from judges about contamination at the site. Last month, RTV RTV6 found a report that listed 14 different chemicals found on the site. The location was once home to a gas manufacturing plant. People RTV6 spoke with in May were concerned about contamination. A representative for the project says a handful of judges are looking at it from a perspective of ignorance. Judge Mark Stoner would not address that comment, but told RTV6 his experts have told him that a stream on the 140-acre campus would have to be labeled hazardous.
Our understanding is the stream that will go in front of the courthouse may very well have to be marked as being hazardous. And I personally don't think that representation was ever made before. And so when I hear our experts say that, that causes me great concern.
The project representative would not do an on-camera interview, but in a written statement told RTV6 the site will be safe to the public and those living and working in the buildings. Every expert that has looked at the site and our remediation plans has come to the same conclusion. When the city executes its designs as planned, there will be no unreasonable health risks from using the site as intended.
Police officers across the state are learning how to better detect when a driver is on drugs. Last month, Call 6 Investigates exposed the growing problem of drugged driving. Officers are training on becoming drug recognition experts. The new training includes taking vitals. When a driver is on drugs, their pulse and blood pressure can be greatly impacted. State records show the most common drugs are marijuana and opioids. Stimulants like meth and cocaine are on the rise.
Drug impaired driving is just a huge problem all over, not only the state, but the country. We're seeing in Delaware County, we're seeing more drug impaired drivers than what we do alcohol at this point.
The drug recognition experts will be out on the streets by August 1st. Well, it may not be the most practical way to get to the office, but today is Commute to Work Day in Central Indiana.
Yeah, hopefully you don't have a big briefcase you need to bring along. The 8th annual event is to kick off a week-long celebration of the White River. And our Alyssa Donovan is live this morning with everything this day is all about. She's even out there on the water. Are you making your way back here to the station, Alyssa?
You know what? I might not come back. I might join them as they kayak, they kayak to work, and I might just join them as they head down the river. Now, I'm here with Mayor Joe Hogsett. You've done this before. Tell me a little bit about your experience.
Well, Burke Engineering here in the city has been kind enough to kind of coordinate the Canoe to Work Day, which is really done in kayaks. We start here on Fall Creek, have a great trip down to the White River. We then kayak down the White River to the zoo. And it's a way of celebrating our waterways, celebrating our community's commitment to clean air and clean water, and connecting us as a community through our waterways. And so it's really a fun day, but it's a day of celebration that really shows how the quality of life can be improved if we in Indianapolis take advantage of all the opportunities to enjoy our waterways.
And what would you say to someone that maybe has never really gotten out onto our waterways here in Indianapolis?
Well, I would say first and foremost, they are improving. The quality of the water is getting better by the day. The Citizens Energy's Deep Rock Tunnel project is helping clear our waterways of the CSO challenges that the city's always had. So we are really celebrating today that Indianapolis is not only a bike-friendly community and that we're improving our mass transit through bus, but we're actually celebrating how we connect and how we can recreate on the waterways in our community.
And a very fun event to celebrate that. We're actually going to head on out right now. I'll send it back to you guys in the studio.
All right, Alyssa has fun. I wish I was out there on the waterways with you. I've done it before on the White River from Broad Ripple Park up to the north. So certainly a fun morning for you. All right, it's a good morning for your dog walking forecast. And this morning we have Walter Eugene, and he is a dog after my own heart because Tina tells me he likes to eat and take naps, and that's exactly what I like to do too, especially on a Friday. So it's a green paw kind of day for us here. No issues for you at all. 65 degrees here this morning with our high getting up to right around around 80 degrees later on this afternoon. So there's a few spotty showers that were present in southern locations this morning. They have moved out. Can't rule out a shower sneaking into southern Indiana this afternoon, but for the most part, we will remain dry. That changes, though. Our rain chances will start to ramp up as we get into the weekend. More on that coming up in just a few minutes.
Todd, thank you. TGIF, it's time for some good news. How many pull-ups can you do? Well, a state trooper got that challenge recently from an unexpected competitor. We'll show you the outcome coming up.
Bob's Discount Furniture.
It's been a long week, and we want to make sure you start your weekend with a smile. It's time for Good News Friday.
A California woman heard a strange noise in her house. Susie Schneider kept hearing a squeak. Then she said it sounded like crying. She tracked the noise to an area near her garage, took out her flashlight, and found a baby raccoon trapped in a tight space. Schneider posted her problem on Facebook, looking for someone to help free it. She found a wildlife expert who was able to finally get the raccoon free. The little critter is now recovering in a rehab center.
This innovative 12-year-old Australian doesn't care why a chicken crosses the road. She's more concerned with how it does it. Summer Farrelly is using 3D printed technology to make customized chicken feet. Her high-tech prosthetic design aims to give injured and deformed chickens the ability to walk. Farrelly's first customer was Jack Frost, an American rooster who lost his feet to frostbite.
We have animals galore on this Good News Friday. Check this out. Cleveland Browns wide receiver Jarvis Landry was outside with his daughter when a little fawn walks up. 2-year-old Joy Landry didn't know what to think at first, but the baby deer just wanted to be friends. I've seen this all over social media.
Oh my goodness.
I just wonder, is it okay for her to touch the fawn? I guess.
I think, well, I'm guessing they probably washed their hands when they went inside, but
what a cute video.
Oh my goodness. It's like, hey, you're my size. I think we can be buddies. And she's just like, oh, it's so cute. Oh my goodness. Adorable. All right, a special moment this week for a military family. Walter Clark was a bomber pilot during World War II for the Army Air Forces, what would later become the U.S. Air Force. This week, the 101-year-old veteran flew from New York to Colorado to watch his grandson Joseph graduate from the Air Force Academy. Not only that, Walter himself got to commission his grandson into the Air Force following his graduation. Great full circle moment there.
A state trooper in North Carolina met his match. Trooper Marshall from Forsyth County, North Carolina, was issued a pull-up challenge by some young gymnasts. The trooper going head-to-head with that young girl, and he could not keep up. Now the North Carolina Highway Patrol tried to point out that the trooper's duty belt weighed more than his competitor, but I think they are just making excuses.
Oh, look at her little fellow gymnast cheering her on. That is adorable. I'd be concerned that, what you did gymnastic, what's that called again? What? The bar they're doing that on?
Oh, that it would break. Yeah, just the bar. The uneven bars.
The uneven bars. Yeah. There you go. That looks like it's going to snap.
With him on there.
Yeah. No.
I'm impressed with both of them, though. I don't think I could do that many pull-ups anymore. Too many beers in my lifetime.
Too many donuts?
For that. Too many donuts. Yeah, maybe that too. All right, outside right now we're dealing with mainly dry conditions, and that's the way it stays throughout the entire day today. But as we get into the weekend, we will build in some weekend storms, but it will not be a washout. That is the good news. If you do have plans, yes, you're going to have to pay attention to the weather forecast or maybe pull up the interactive radar on Storm Shield, the app you can download for free in the App Store, and you can kind of time out your plans. But this morning, beautiful on Monument Circle. All across central Indiana, as well as the temperatures are currently sitting in the 60s and holding on to that 70-degree temperature in Bloomington right now. 60 in Richmond, 64 is the current temperature in Lafayette. So this morning there's thinner clouds to the north, thicker clouds down to the south, and we had a few isolated showers this morning down towards Bloomington and Bedford. As you can see, those are moving out of the area this morning, and you should be dry for your morning commute. The problem is we have this big storm system that is just down to our south, and it's very, very disorganized. It's kind of just sitting in place across the area. We have some showers moving off to the west, some rain moving off towards the east, and there's nothing really to push it out of here. And it's part of an old tropical system that was down in the Gulf of Mexico. It's never named, but that's why it has so much moisture with it. Anyway, by the time we get to the weekend, finally it's going to start to move to the east, and it will be close enough to pinwheel some showers in our direction. So this afternoon and this evening, there could be a stray shower to the south. Really not too concerned about much in the way of rainfall throughout the day today. It's really as we get into tomorrow that we run into some better rain chances. So this afternoon, temperatures will be climbing up into the low 80s for us with just that spot storm chance in southern locations. This evening, a lot of First Friday events going on, including the big food truck First Friday at the Marathon Old National Center. So if you're heading to that, temperatures this evening will be in the 80s to start and then falling into the upper 70s with partly cloudy skies and those warm and breezy conditions. Now, temperatures Saturday and Sunday, both days are going to be right around 80 degrees. Probably a little better chance of rain on Sunday compared to Saturday. Tomorrow, watch how these showers come in. We start off dry, but as we get into the noon hour, some scattered showers and a few thunderstorms will be possible, and then they move out, and then we get into a lot of dry hours again tomorrow evening. So if you are heading to an outdoor event tomorrow, yes, you have to pay attention again. There will be some showers move through, but I wouldn't cancel any of your plans as of yet, as these showers will just have to kind of time them out as we get throughout the day. Sunday, a little better chance of some scattered storms around. A few could linger into Monday. Then as we get into next week, cooler temperatures. Look at that. By Thursday, we're talking about a high of only 71 degrees. Elena?
All right, thank you, Todd. A couple of weekend road projects you're going to want to pay attention to, right? 3 lanes will be closed beginning at 9 o'clock tonight until 6 o'clock in the morning, Monday, northbound 65 from Southport Road to 465. All lanes will be closed between northbound I-465. That's in that splits. And then we also have a complete closure of eastbound I-70 from I-465 over here on this west side all the way up to the south split. So to get around it, you're going to want to head westbound on 465, which turns into northbound 465, and then continue northbound or southbound on I-65, depending upon your destination. Right now, this left lane is blocked on northbound I-465 and I-865 because of a crash. We have this on our live in.dot traffic camera right now. You can see law enforcement emergency crews are on the scene. Now, I spoke with ISP Dispatch. They tell me no injuries with this crash, and it is a 2-vehicle crash, but you can see traffic is building up significantly. So if this is part of your drive, you can expect some delays.
Getting ready to show their pride next on Good Morning Indiana. After weeks of Indy Pride events, the big parade and festival is right around the corner. We've got a preview coming up.
Working for you. This is Good Morning Indiana. Working for you.
Welcome back to Good Morning Indiana. It is 6:53. I'm Meredith Barrick.
And I'm Nicole Griffin. We're working for you this Friday morning, helping you get your day started.
We have all your top stories covered, and Elena Martella is keeping a close eye on the roads right now. We do want to start things off with Todd Clausen and your Friday forecast.
And it's a decent start to our day here across the area. Here's a view from IMS looking back towards downtown Indianapolis, and it's really, really hard to see the city skyline. So we do have some moisture that's still present in the lower levels of the atmosphere, and that's the humidity you'll feel when you walk out the door this morning. Temperatures are currently in the 60s and 70s. As far as rain goes, most of us remain completely dry throughout the day today. If you live or you're traveling to southern locations, 1 or 2 of these showers that are in Kentucky could pinwheel into southern Indiana. But for the most part, again, it's a dry forecast for us. It's a warm day. It's a muggy day with high temperatures right around 80 degrees.
Todd, thank you. We continue to follow breaking news from overnight. A man on a motorcycle rushed to the hospital after he collided with a tow truck on the city's east side. The crash happened near East Washington and Mithofer around 1:30 this morning. Police tell RTV6 the man was trying to change lanes when he hit a median and then sideswiped a tow truck. The motorcycle driver is expected to be okay. Aaron.
Indy Pride is this weekend, and before you go, we have a few things you should know. The parade starts at 10 on Mass Ave in College. Get downtown early to find parking, and be aware there are closures. And then the festival is at Military Park and begins at 11. Don't forget, it is tobacco free, and new this year, there are no coolers allowed into the festival. There will be hydration stations where you can get free water bottles, and if it rains, check out Indy Pride's social media to get all the updates. Nicole?
Aaron, thank you. The Indy Pride Festival comes as LGBTQ rights have taken center stage in the race for mayor of Indianapolis. On Thursday, Republican candidate Jim Merritt announced that he would not attend the Pride Parade after all. He faced pushback for wanting to walk in the parade because of numerous votes against gay rights as a state senator. Merritt now says he has changed and wants to work for the LGBTQ community.
This morning, Metro Police are asking for your help after another deadly shooting. Investigators were called to Sheffield Avenue on the west side just after 3 o'clock Thursday afternoon. They found 2 men with gunshot wounds. One of the victims died. The other is in critical condition. Police have not yet released the name of the victim.
This morning, the founder of a popular tourist destination, Fair Oaks Farms, is responding to the animal abuse that took place on his farm. He released a video statement apologizing for animal cruelty videos released this week by an animal rights group. Mike McCloskey also says the farm will install cameras to prevent future animal cruelty. Alyssa.
Today is the 8th annual Canoe to Work Day. It was started by Chris Burke Engineering as a way to encourage people to get out and explore local waterways. It started in 2012 with just about 10 people canoeing to work or kayaking, and today they'll have more than 40.
All right, thank you, Alyssa. Now, we have a crash that's left the left lane blocked on northbound I-465 near I-865 up on that northwest side. So heading into the dog leg, if this is part of your drive, just pay attention to that. It's causing a little bit of a stop-and-go traffic.
All right, as we work our way throughout the day today, we'll have hazy sunshine, a little more in the way of cloud cover this morning, especially in southern locations compared to later on this afternoon. You notice I have the question mark there behind the shower in southern locations. It's not a complete guarantee you'll have a shower. There's some showers in Kentucky. 1 or 2 of them may pinwheel into southern locales. If you do see it, it should be brief. That is the good news. 83 degrees by 6 p.m. So overall, it's a very nice day for us. Your weekend forecast brings scattered storms in both Saturday and on Sunday with temperatures in the 70s and 80s. It's not a washout this weekend, but you do have to know that there will be the potential for some showers and storms at times. Then next week, we're talking about cooler temperatures with highs that'll only be in the low to mid 70s.
All right, Todd, thank you. And we are back in 25 minutes and throughout Good Morning America with news, weather, and traffic updates.
We leave you now with a live look as the sun rises on this Friday morning.